first video of 2026. My name is Taylor, and this is my 6th ever YouTube video that I am filming and posting on this YouTube channel. 5 of them being from 2025. I was fairly consistent with posting at the beginning of the year last year. Just kind of fell off. I got a full-time job, I got married, just all the excuses, you know how it be. So in 2026, I would like to be a little bit more consistent if possible. I do find the act of filming and editing videos really satisfying and gratifying. Also, me and YouTube long form content, we are like this. I love vloggers. I love the vlog girlies. I love watching Vlogmas videos every year. I love book content, thrifting content, sustainability content, you name it. Like I'm sat. Reading journal content, I am sat. So yeah, because I'm such a YouTube lover, YouTube consumer, why not try to take creating my own channel a little bit more seriously, become a little bit more disciplined, but have fun with it in 2026. So that is what we are starting this new year off, this energy with. It is currently January 2nd, and today's video is all about my 2026 vision board setup. I love when people create digital vision boards and they use it as their phone background, their computer background, but I personally really enjoy physically creating the vision board. If magazines weren't so expensive, I would probably try to use magazines, but oh my goodness, even if you thrift them, so expensive. So I personally am a big fan of going on Pinterest. I love like kind of pinning things starting in around October at the end of the year, and then kind of creating a like 2026 intentions board, whatever the year may be. And then I'll kind of put that in a Google Doc, play around with the photos, and then I print them off with my printer that I'm fortunate to have at home. And then I kind of add some other little things, as you will see. So I will definitely be including some clips of my vision board creative process, as well as kind of talking about why I included some of the photos I did, if there's intention behind it, what I meant by that, what my intentions are in general for 2026. So without further ado, let's get into my actual vision board. So I use this big bulletin board that I've had for probably over 6 years at this point to do this. It is a little broken in some areas, but you know what, she has character, it's fine. But first things first, like I mentioned, I like to start on Pinterest and kind of create a collage. And then after I do that, I like to go into Google Docs and I kind of like to play around with cropping some of the photos, layering them, just so it kind of gives it that more scrapbook feel when I go to put it on my vision board. Once I have those printed out, I will cut them out and then I kind of just play around with putting them on the bulletin board, because I like to print, I think I typically print out about 6 sheets, and then I usually print out another piece of paper with like random backgrounds on it, which is something that I hadn't really done before this year. I had kind of used like backgrounds of like magazines or old books or something as kind of the filler paper. As you can kind of see in some areas, I have like a paint strip in there and just like kind of various other photos that I might have included in years before that I'll kind of use as the background. But this year I just looked up like iPhone backgrounds on Pinterest and I printed those out on normal paper and I just kind of use that as filler. I really like the way that looks this year. It looks way more intentional. It kind of adds a little bit of whimsy to the board as well. But for my 2026 intentions this year, a big goal of mine is to slow down. I'm sure that if you're on this app, you are maybe seeing kind of this analog trend where people are slowly starting to get off of their phones and getting more into physical hobbies such as doing Sudoku, crossword, watercolors, just reducing screen time and getting back into those like childlike wonders and hobbies, kind of living out this like 90s childhood again. And I was born in the early 2000s, so I'm not a 90s kid by any means. However, there is a lot of similarities between early 2000s and 90s kids, where I think we're all just kind of craving that sense of childlike wonder when you come home when the street lights turn on and you play outside more and you really sit with boredom and there's not so many screens. And honestly, since having a phone for over half of my life, I am eager to get back into that. I am so sick of scrolling all the time. I've already deleted some social media apps this year. I've actually deleted Snapchat, which I had for over half of my life, which is so insane to say that out loud. So insane to say that out loud, actually. So that app is gone. I feel so much freer. Granted, there are other apps that I would like to lower my consumption on, such as Instagram and TikTok. I think I would realistically like to get down to just about 10 minutes each day on like each app, like 10 minutes on Instagram, 10 minutes on TikTok, but we'll see. I kind of want to play around with more screen timer apps, but why are they all so expensive? Yeah, don't understand that. So as you will see on my vision board, we do have a couple of these analog photos because that's a big intention for me for 2026, is to really slow down, sit with my hobbies, learn new things, and just really take life slower and appreciate each moment for what it is rather than watching others live their lives through a screen, which has become such a big part of my life in the past few years, and it just is starting to get really lonesome. You're watching other people's videos and you have maybe parasocial relationships with people online, but it's not the same as really truly living your life. And I know it's ironic to say that as I'm filming a YouTube video and posting it, and anybody who's interacting with that, maybe that's kind of the case. However, I just kind of want to bring awareness to it and try to find a healthy balance between being on a screen, interacting with others, kind of living their lives and filming it, versus actually living my own and not just constantly watching others do the things that I wish I would be doing. And that's not to say that everybody who posts something online that they're always doing something and it's always perfect or whatever, because I have heard other YouTubers who talk about doing things for the sake of content and not really doing it. So Carter Sullivan is a massive inspiration for me creating a YouTube channel, and she has also talked about this on her channel with creating content, but not just doing things for the sake of creating content. She loves to junk journal, and she kind of started off with using that as content and kind of reeled it back in and was like, I actually want to junk journal for the sake of it being a hobby, and I will share it when I feel like it's necessary or when I feel compelled to, but I don't want to junk journal to create content. I want to junk journal because it's a hobby. So that's just like a big intention that I want to bring into 2026, is creating something for the sake of creating it and not for the sake of content. And again, I'm understanding how ironic it sounds to be filming a YouTube video and posting it because I am creating this video for the sake of content. However, I create this vision board each year, and it's just something I want to share. But to get back into the vision board, my cousin is actually getting married in July, and I'm going to be her matron of honor. So I included some photos of kind of being a bridesmaid. I have this pink dress hanging because that's kind of her wedding color. I have a kind of like girls road trip photo in there, as we're probably gonna go on a little bachelorette trip for her. I have also included some photos of studying because I have applied to grad school for this upcoming fall, and that's something I'm kind of manifesting. So I have some photos in here of studying and note-taking, and I'm just kind of speaking that into existence. I have no idea where I'll be at the end of this year, but that is kind of a big goal of mine for 2026, is to begin a graduate course. You'll also see that I have included some photos of people kind of wandering around in like bookstores or libraries. I have lived in the town that I currently reside in for the past 4 years, and I still don't have a library card. It's something that I keep putting off each year, and I'm so passionate about it, and it's probably not as hard as I'm making it out to be. So that is like actual goal that I have for 2026, is to get a library card. I do also have some photos included of like budgeting. I have a quote on there that says, "My income exceeds my expenses and I am financially secure." I do also have some goals that I'm sure many of us have on there, such as like exercise. I included some yoga photos because that is something that is an integral part of my life. I do yoga every single morning and have for the past couple of years. It's just something that I want to continue to put on my vision board because it does play such a massive role in my life. I did also include some photos of like nature walks, some kind of gym photos. I've also included some photos of cooking at home, specifically with cookbooks. My now husband and I have a few cookbooks between the two of us. We have about 8, I believe. And we did actually just make a couple recipes from a cookbook yesterday to kind of ring in the new year. But it is something that we both really want to get more comfortable with, is using cookbooks and not just relying on the internet to get all of our recipes from, considering that, you know, we do own these books, so we want to put them to better use and really getting better at meal planning. I also think that using cookbooks and meal planning and kind of just utilizing the tools that we have in our house will really set us up for some of those budgeting intentions that I have for this year, kind of reeling back in some of our grocery budget, etc. Especially if I, do have this big goal to go to grad school at the end of the year. I definitely want to save every penny for that. I've also included some other photos on here that just kind of have more to do with like my relationship. My husband and I just got married almost 3 months ago at this point, which is crazy to think about, but I do have some just like quality time photos, a couple dancing in the kitchen, a couple going out for dinner, just kind of like that sweet intentional time with each other. We just want to focus a little bit more on that this year, especially since we're in our first year of marriage. And it's kind of funny hearing a lot of people say that the first year of marriage is the hardest, but we've been together for almost 7 years at this point. So just want to make sure that we bring that kind of dating engagement, that this isn't the end of our relationship, that this is just the beginning, and we kind of want to just keep nurturing it. And so I do have some photos of more like couples and quality time, couples that are maybe married or engaged on there as well. I do also like to include various kind of quotes on my vision board each year just to kind of have as a focal point. The biggest thing by far that I have as a quote on here is, what's the best that could happen? If you know me personally, you know that's extremely anxious and just thinking about the reality of things a lot of the time. So I decided to include that quote because I've been struggling with self-confidence a lot this past year and trusting myself and just kind of letting my anxiety control my life a lot, particularly at the end of this year. So I figure, why not include this quote? Because I think that's gonna be a nice reminder to wake up every morning and see that and think, what's the best that could happen today? What's the best that could happen this year? So yeah, that's just a really nice reminder. I do also have a couple other quotes on here, like less scrolling, more living, consume less, create more. One of my favorites that I included on there, and again, I found all these on Pinterest, so I'm not claiming to have made up any of these. It's, if you're not seeing anything inspiring, you're walking too fast. And when I read that for the first time, it just really kind of hit me like a train. When you see something at just the right time for you, I needed to include that on this board this year because like, even in the literal sense, I love going on walks, but a lot of the times I'll have my AirPods in. Even if I'm just listening to a podcast and I'm kind of half listening to it, it's like, I just want to be a little bit more intentional about slowing down, listening to the world, finding what inspires me without constantly seeking outward inspiration, but rather finding that inspiration by slowing down, sitting with myself. I don't need to be rushing from one thing to the next. You'll also notice on this vision board that there are a lot of photos of coffee and lattes. My husband and I had just got an espresso machine last month, and it's already like one of the best purchases I've ever made in my whole life. I wanted one for so long, but we kept putting off because of how expensive they are, and we finally bit the bullet. We'd been saving for a long time and got one this year, so I have a lot of photos on here, some with latte art, some just kind of with some maybe morning pages, playing games with friends, doing crosswords, watercoloring, etc. Because I'm probably going to be drinking a lot of coffee this year because the machine was expensive. Although we've already saved so much money on getting coffee out by using this machine, like, it's actually crazy the return on investment when you get an espresso machine. Just saying, if you're a big coffee person like me, then I'm just saying. And then just some kind of last other photos that I've included are just some kind of whimsical drawings, backgrounds. I found this really cute photo of these two ladybugs on a branch. I just thought it was so sweet. I included this photo of a bunny that I drew last year, this little mouse with some tulips, cute little almost like photo strip or comic strip of Snoopy reading a book and holding it dear to his heart. Some other little kind of whimsical photos that I included is this one of Kirk from Gilmore Girls that says, well, whimsy goes with everything. And I watch Gilmore Girls a lot, so I just thought this was really funny to include, and I think that's just like a big intention this year, is to stop being so serious, just find whimsy in the day-to-day, just be a weird girl. I am a weird girl, and just embrace it, because we just can't be taking life too seriously sometimes. So whimsy goes with everything, as Kirk said. And then kind of the last thing that I included on this vision board is this little polymer clay star garland that I just kind of had draped on the left-hand side. I would like to maybe make another one for the right-hand side, or just like a longer one to kind of have it drape a little bit more, because again, it's just adding a little bit of fun, a little whimsy into the board. And I just honestly, with the darker colors this year, and there is a lot of star kind of themes spread throughout, I just think it really pairs really nicely. And yeah, I'm just super into that. But yeah, I hope that you all enjoyed my 2026 vision board making process, and just kind of hearing of some of the intentions that I have for this year. Just to kind of recap, a lot of those are just going to be slowing down, adding whimsy in my day-to-day, getting more into creating rather than consuming content, getting back into some old hobbies that I may have been involved in before, and just really honing in on some of my creativity, trusting myself, building confidence, being there for others, and most importantly, being there for myself, because we deserve it, don't we? I just want to say thank you so much for watching this video. If you stuck around the whole time, I hope you have a wonderful and whimsical 2026, and I'm so excited for what this year has to come, and I'm wishing you the best, truly. So here is to 2026.